Hey guys, as you may or may not remember, in my previous vlog, Zombies in Interviews, which you can click and watch right here, ding, I said that when Series 6 of Doctor Who is finished, I would go back and just give a general retrospective on my opinion on the series. Now, given that it finally has finished, and I've watched all of it, I'm going to quickly go through the entirety and summarize each episode, beginning to last, and give little thoughts on it and just anything that might be funny. Now, what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Allons-y! The Impossible Astronaut. The Doctor meets up with Amy and Rory and River in the Utah desert, upon which they find out that he gets killed by an Apollo astronaut climbing out of the lake. But he didn't just only bring them, he also brought his past self, upon which they have to go back to 1969 to solve a problem for President Nixon. This was a very good start to the series, and I was really interested to see following up with a cliffhanger. It is weird that they created a two-part beginner, which I've never seen in any of the previous series. And one thing, while Russell T Davies made the show really addictive to the point where just seeing one episode basically got you hooked, Stephen Moffat definitely keeps you staying, coming for more, trying to figure out exactly what the entire thing is about. Right now, when I saw it, I thought he was the most brilliant thing, and I couldn't wait to see what was being revealed next. Next episode, Day of the Moon. Taking place 3 months after The Impossible Astronaut, the Doctor and company fight the Silents, which are an evil race of beings which control humanity through post-hypnotic suggestion. They fight them using a ploy involving the Apollo mission. This is when I really realized how much the production values have shot up, how well Stephen Moffat is really able to craft this, but also really bad at making it seem like they have a reason to not immediately try to follow up on the plot lines. Curse of the Black Spot. The Doctor and Amy and Rory go to a pirate ship where they fight a siren. While it definitely looked very good in terms of the limitations they had of being on a single boat, I do feel like it could have been stronger in terms of writing, especially around the climax. Also, it was showing that there would be a lot more obvious signs of the season arc as opposed to previous seasons, such as The Bad Wolf or The Bees Disappearing or Vote Saxa. It's an alright episode, and there's not much more to say about it. Next episode, The Doctor's Wife. You know what, any sort of setup would spoil this episode, so I'm not going to give any. This episode was written by Neil Gaiman. Yes, Neil, Sandman, American Gods, Coraline Gaiman. Neil Gaiman. And it is amazing. It is utterly amazing, and you have to go see it right now. I said now. But in all seriousness, I do think that Neil Gaiman should write another episode next season. Because Stephen Moffat has become showrunner, someone needs to take Stephen Moffat's place as the writer who does the show one episode a season that's 1,000,000 times better than the showrunner. It's brilliant, it looks amazing, it's Neil Gaiman, go watch it. Next episode, The Rebel Flesh. The Doctor and Amy and Rory go to an acid mining place, nearly in the future, upon which they find that the people are fighting with the clones that they use as manual labor. It's an alright episode with a good take on the whole concept of humans versus blank, and both are complete jerks to each other. But I feel like it just was stretched too long, especially how the next episode we'll talk about in a second was just too compressed. It was alright, but too slow. Next episode. The Almost People. The Doctor's trying to resolve the issues between the humans and the Flesh, but meanwhile, the Flesh creates a doppelganger of the Doctor. What will happen next? Like I said, this is just way too compressed. They thought that it would be a good twist to have the Doctor just be a cliffhanger, whether the Flesh Doctor is evil or not. I personally feel they probably should have cut about, 15 to 30 minutes into this episode. It was an alright episode, but the big thing is the next episode. Let's go. A Good Man Goes to War. Amy's being held captive by these people who want to turn her baby into a weapon, but the Doctor and Rory and a bunch of cameos are coming to save her. While I really did like the number of the cameos, I really feel like the whole Silurian thing was really weird in that we never see them before, and yet it's supposed to feel like they're coming back. This is also the episode that finally reveals River Song's identity. And it's not surprising. I mean, come on, Moffat. You had us all guessing a million different things, because what it actually was, we're like, oh no, that's too obvious. Come on, that's like a soap opera thing. That's just, no. But that's what it is, and it's. Ugh. But it didn't leave too much of a cliffhanger. But hey, we get to see it next week, right? Right, guys? What? 4 months? God, I miss it already. Let's kill Hitler. The TARDIS is hijacked by a friend of Amy and Rory's, upon which they crash right in the middle of Nazi Germany. I do feel like this episode really resolves a lot of plot lines, although again really begins to go straight into the whole territory before of, really, Moffat? We expected something a bit crazier. I do like that it focused more on the season arc and explaining a bit more. It still feel like it didn't explain enough. Also, amazing performance from Matt Smith. Now, let's see what kind of other things that can really focus and fit into the arc. Next episode, Night Terrors. Yeah, you know that season arc that we've been working on the entire time? Okay. Hey, let's do an episode that's like Fear Her or something like that. The Doctor gets a message from a small child in the EastEnders land that he receives on the psychic paper, upon which he comes to face the monsters in his closet. While it was done well for that kind of episode, I just began to realize that before you used to chat all the time with your friends about what it might be or what's going on or all the hints that were hidden in each episode. When got back to finally watching it was just like, yeah, that was good, There's nothing wrong with the episode, but I feel like the whole going back to episodic thing really didn't help, especially when we're waiting to resolve everything. Next episode. The Girl Who Waited. Amy gets caught in a separate timeline from Rory and the Doctor and becomes a 50-something katana-swinging badass. Again, while it's a really good episode, they didn't really focus on the season arc, which has been focusing on the entire season so far. And while it does show a good amount of performances, I just feel like there's something missing, like the season arc. But surely that'll be covered in the next thing. Right? The God Complex. The Doctor, Amy, and Rory end up in a spaceship or space station or some place in space that's supposed to look like an 80s hotel, with various rooms that are filled with various people's fears. I'm not sure if this episode was supposed to be scary or weird. It certainly wasn't scary, but there wasn't enough weird. There was just awkward editing. Also, it references the Horns of Nimon. Anyone who's actually seen that during the whole Douglas Adams run on the classic Doctor Who knows that that's something you do not want to reference. It sucks. But the main thing is that the Doctor leaves Amy and Rory to go live their life and just move on without him. And now the Doctor is traveling on his own. Next episode. Closing time. The Doctor runs into Craig from the Lodger, who's now a dad, upon which they have to fight the Cybermen. Can I please get one good Cybermen episode? One where they're scary or intimidating or something. Again, issue with the season arc. And the next one's the finale. Expected to be a two-parter thing, but apparently not. I really wish there was more to say about all these last few episodes, but there's not, because it's just episodic. Gah. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's go to the finale. The Wedding of River Song. All of time is broken, and Holy Roman Emperor Winston Churchill is asking the soothsayer, the Doctor, to explain what happened. Wow. Okay, they explained everything, which is good. They've set stuff up, but also not leaving a whole bunch of questions unanswered. Awesome. Now, did they cram too much in? Yes. Yes, they did. I felt like I watched a 90-minute film entirely in 45 minutes. Now, while that in and of itself, that idea is not a bad thing, I just feel like there was some bits missing, some stuff they could have handled a bit better, and again, Stephen Moffat, you're just kind of not meeting our expectations in terms of craziness and ideas in science fiction. Yeah, she's married to him now. She was his wife. We all kind of guessed that. Just like we guessed she was Amy's daughter, and just like we guessed that she killed him. There was all kinds of other theories, but, just Moffat! So anyways, I liked it. And I also liked the series in general. It really got me to really like Matt Smith, and he's fitting in his own little niche. It resolved all of the plot stuff that they'd also established in Series 5, which I was really glad about. They also still left a whole bunch of stuff open for Series 7, but didn't just leave it all kind of confusing and muddled and lost. And now I can't wait to see the Christmas special. This is Dylan signing off. Geronimo!